Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Romper Room. A special guest, DARYL HANCE, fantastic guitarist, person, songwriter, founding member of Mofro, and was with them through Orange Blossoms and a corresponding tour, and left in early 2010 and started doing his own thing. And I've become friends with him over the years. Stayed with me when he's played in the area. He played Elderberry Jam in 2016, one of the years that we did. And he and I just been, really good friends, see eye to eye on a lot of things, and figured who better to have on the show. Let's get to it. Here's DARYL HANCE on the Romper Room.
I see you, you fucker.
Fucking fuckers. D-Money.
Let's see. Does that look okay there?
I mean, you look like Jimi Hendrix HANCE.
Okay.
Daryl Hendrix. I like it.
Oh, the tribute photo.
Fucking A right. It's the shit. I'm not that creative visually. I'm the type of person that picks the ugliest pictures of myself. Here I am after being up 3 days. Check that out. That'll do it. Boom.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Oh, Daryl.
We both got the head covers, man.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. You just went whole hog and shaved it all off. I'm still fighting.
Yeah. I started doing that back in the mid-90s and just like, feels good, man. But then after 20, 30 years of, you figure out what the hair is for. The hair is for to let you know shit's there before you bash your head on it. Knocked your head in about a few hundred times. Like, maybe I need to cover my head.
It helps in the winter time too when it gets cold up here, but you don't have that problem down south.
Yeah. It gets cold here, but it usually only lasts like a week.
I could deal with that.
Kind of the light show here.
I don't know if it helps all that much though with the hair. I was hanging out with the guys from the Steepwater band over the weekend, and Eric Sailors, we were talking about when they were loading out of Knuckleheads once, and he whacked his head really bad on this pipe. Loading out. Guess he went, they went to the hotel afterwards and he was still a little discombobulated or whatever and wound up walking right into his fucking bathroom door. So, and that dude's got all the hair in the world. I don't know if you've seen him lately, but he's let his hair grow. The hair helps, Daryl. That's all I'm saying.
Mine started thinning out on the top there and then started looking like a mangy possum kind of. So I just went ahead and just get rid of this.
Didn't stop you from doing anything. And I mean, there's lots of rock and roll guys with bald head. I mean, Scott Ian comes to mind immediately. Billy Corgan.
Rocking the cue ball.
Yeah, shit. What's Black Francis from the Pixies, right?
Are you hearing me okay there?
I hear you great, man. Okay. I mean, we're rolling. We're talking with the DARYL HANCE from down south Florida way. He's played guitar in some bands, made some records with few of his own bands, some solo stuff, just does what he wants. He's a Renaissance man. I love this guy. Every time I hang out with him, every time I talk to him, he's a good dude. So I'm happy to have him on the Romper Room.
The Romper Room, is that what you're calling it?
Yeah, that's what I'm calling it, because anything goes.
That's cool. I like that.
It is. It's the Romper, Jeremy's Romper Room, Like a buddy had brought someone over and they were talking about it and they were like, man, you should do a podcast and, we'd like to co-host with you or whatever. And like, my whole thing was, I don't want to have it just be music, especially like limiting it to one genre really kills me. But even just having to talk about only music, because there's so many facets, to everybody's life. When you play music and you write songs or whatever you're doing, like you don't separate the two, because life is what gives you the inspiration to like write about and to play and to be connected to.
Yeah, I'm going to do a podcast too at some point. I've kind of started delving into the just doing little segments and philosophical type things, but I'm just kind of too busy with music and trying to make money and stuff like that, but I'm kind of steering into it. And same thing, kind of like what you're doing, want to be all encompassing, not just music, but a lot of music and all sorts of things, But yeah, it's just a really cool medium, really cool. I actually was wanting to do it back in 2015 or 16, but the technology was kind of sort of there. I mean, if you had to enough gear to plug in, you could do it. But as far as like having it where you just fire up an iPhone or do it simply, on a low budget. But it seems like the
Right.
technology is really there now. So can you smoke weed on here?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm grinding some. I'm rolling a blunt
Okay.
right now. Yeah, we're gonna smoke weed together.
Yeah. Text, not really holding.
No,
So-
no. It's, I mean, but it's legal here in Missouri now. We got recreational. So.
Oh yeah, it's some kind of legal here in Florida. I'm not really sure.
Well, me and you have both always acted like it was legal anyway. So.
Yeah, I haven't really smoked any in months. Usually a couple times a year. I get too distracted with it, but a couple times a year I'll get a couple of really good nuggets or whatever and nip on it for a couple weeks or so. Then maybe go get a little more, do that for a couple more weeks. And then by that time it's okay, I gotta get my brain back focused. So
I remember whenever you jammed with Driving Wheel at Mojo's, and you came up and you were like, "Man, I'm so stoned. I didn't even know what to play." It was like, it was fantastic though. We had a good time.
yeah, that was a fun night. That was a long time ago.
Oh, dude, it was like fucking 10, 12 years ago, something over a decade
Yeah,
ago.
it was December 2011.
I believe that.
Was a
Yeah, because that was like your first tour for the first record, right?
Yep. It was the first I toured that first year, 2011, and then to 2012, and then about April of 2012, I kind of hit a brick wall and was like decided to stay home for a while, and because at that time I had already been on the road for since 2001. Intermittently in 2001, but February 2002 on, it was a constant,
So February 2001, when did you go to England to record Backwater?
We actually recorded that here, but we went to England in 98.
Oh, wow.
Summer of 98. We was only there about a year.
So you were away from home for a year, and then you went out on the road in 2001.
Yeah, we went over there in 98, come back in late 99, hooked up with Fog City as we were kind of coming back. Are you rolling up a tater there?
I'm rolling the taters, sir. I'm rolling one big enough for both of us.
Yeah, we come back from England in late 99, about September, and then went back to working at the day jobs until like February of 2002. Then once February 2002 come around, we were pretty much on the road through from then on. I kind of left the road in April 2012.
You left Mofro, what, 2010, started working on your own studios? Well,
Yeah.
not left, took a leave of absence.
Yeah. The summer of 2010 and started rowing my own boat.
And went right back out on the road.
Yeah, went right back out on the road, was on the road better part of 2 years. And then mid-April 2012, something like that, I kind of, let me get the fuck out of here.
No, I get
and
it, man.
Come back home and started working on because I had access to a home studio then. Started working on the Land of Trembling Earth record, worked on that for a couple years, got it out. But I was going through a lot of old archive material and just trying to find a really good balance of stuff.
These were all songs you were stockpiling over the years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have well over 100. I got enough for 8 more albums if I never write another song. So, and at least 8 more albums. That's the finished songs. And I got fragments of all other kind of shit.
Bits and pieces and scurbage laying around.
Yeah,
what I call them.
yeah, everywhere, man.
No, I love it. And that's the whole thing. And sometimes pieces of the old ones fit with some of the new ones and make a whole new different thing. And yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got an album now that I'm just wrapping up that I started back in 2016. The computer's shit in the bed in mid 2017. It's been kind of on the back burner.
Yeah. Excuse me. Last time we talked, it was still an issue.
Yeah. Finally got my home recording situation together. So I started finishing it up back in January, delving back into it. And now I'm pretty close done fixing the track drums for the last song on it this Sunday. And then the one thing, B. Gale.
Yeah, nice. The original Mofro drummer.
Yeah, she plays on the whole album. I played drums on it initially to start with, but when I recorded her drums, my drums weren't so hot. So I removed my drums except for one song I left them in the chorus to kind of fatten it out. But yeah, her drumming really reveals how much my drumming sucks.
I don't look at it like as that, because I'm probably real similar in the sense I'm a very workman and I know what I kind of want to write for songs. I was trained on percussion when I was a kid, but it's not like riding a bike, man. You've really got to hone your craft. The difference between people like B and probably me and you is the consistency in how they hit and like how everything has got this consistent depth and timbre and volume and attack and everything, whereas you can hear how kind of all over the place I am or you are probably whenever you put it up against someone like that. I have a track I'm working on for someone, and we had to use so much compression and like even shift a little bit of drums a little bit for my, we got to line that up.
Yeah, I usually track 3 tracks of it. Whatever I'm working on, whether it's be vocals, guitar, bass, drums. I track 3 tracks, use the best one, and pull clips if needed from the other ones.
Sure, that's the Jimmy Page method, man.
Yeah, and I occasionally I'll go 4 or 5 if I'm really hitting on something cool. I try to keep it at 3 and just go back to the first one and record over it until I get 3 that kind of got the vibe locked in.
Sure.
But I play drums on the Land of Trembling, my Land of Trembling Earth album, and about half of Wild Blue Iris. But back then I was, in the studio playing every day and could actually do it. Not so much anymore, man. Just like I like to sit down and kick a beat now and again, but I'd rather get somebody else to play on it. I'll still play on it. Like when I'm tracking it and fleshing the song out, I'll play the drums just so I can get everything down. Sure. But bring someone more accomplished in.
We technically don't have a drummer right now, so everything's getting kind of written to loops and beats and the stuff that Ryan's coming up with. We were at first kind of similar, the way you are. It's like, we'll just cut demos and, just for tracking or whatever. And like, shit, man, these songs are, above my pay grade as a drummer. Like I think I need to concentrate on being the best bass player, guitar player I can be, or maybe figuring out how to sing a little bit and not worry so much about being a drummer. Because again, it's something you have to do every day. And like really some of the tight, really hip hoppy beat and the shift in time signatures kind of hem me up a little bit because I'm not a big counter, even though I just kind of feel things. They're not that kind of song. It's a different kind of thing doing it like that, doing it yourself and doing it kind of a little bit more insularly.
Yeah, I've always done that. Recorded. I mean, even going back to when I first started playing music, I've always as soon as I got a 4-track, even before a 4-track, I was putting cassette, playing this cassette, played over to another cassette and just multi-instrument, always played bass, always played guitar, dabbled in keys, always the drum set drums is the first instrument I ever had. So I've always been, once I got a guitar, just always been playing everything. And every band I played in, we'd always switch off instruments, when we're jamming and practicing and stuff and just having fun playing stuff,
Absolutely. I guess we always did that too. And that's how everybody figured out I was a decent enough bass player. Either that or I wasn't a very good guitar player.
Yeah, I was pretty good on the guitar as far as like always come up with stuff. I had a pretty good feel for the bass. The same with the drums. Always had a really good groove on the drums, but it's just not enough hours in there to hit the snare the same every time and hit the kick drum the same every time.
Tired, man. We played a show opening for Chris Robinson Brotherhood when Craig had broken his like clavicle or collarbone, some shit like that. So Ryan got Brandon from Murphy's Ford to play my bass 6, and I was gonna play drums, right? We got like 3 songs in and I'm sucking wind and I'm like, all right, time for me to play bass and he's gonna switch to acoustic and we're gonna come up and play some slow shit because it was woof. There's some stamina involved too.
Oh yeah.
I was a little butterball back then though. I was a fat boy.
Yeah, it definitely takes some stamina to sit behind that kit, man.
So your new album, getting it together.
Yeah, hopefully once I get the drums done Sunday, 9/10 of the way through mixing it. So I just got a couple little things here I can do this guitar a little better here. And
so do you mix
couple little backing vocals. With this one here, yeah. And actually when I start recording anything, I'm already mixing it as I go, just kind of, getting everything where it needs to be. So when it comes time to actually mix. In other words, by the time I'm finished tracking, I'm pretty close. It's pretty close to being mixed. Is usually how it goes. This one was a little different because the system I recorded it on and the system I have now is two completely different things. So I'm kind of mixing it sort of in the box, but kind of like a hybrid. So I'm having to kind of figure out a lot of technical bullshit, the old technical learning curve. So it's taken a bit longer. But also this album kind of sat on a back burner for years until I could get back to it. So it's kind of reacclimating to the recording environment, which I was really good at back in 2016, 2017 from tracking the earlier albums. But that little 5-6 year gap there, you get really rusty. This recording shit's harder than what I thought, man.
I'm rusty on it all except the actual playing part now, really. The idea of getting out and playing shows even kind of scares me a little bit. Not the getting on stage part, but the loading up and getting ready and going there.
Yeah.
You know, everything that it takes to make it happen.
Oh yeah.
And you know, recording, yeah, that too. It's same thing. Like this driving wheel record that's sat on the shelf for 5 fucking years or whatever. I'm trying to kind of get it together and get it mixed, and it's just been a convoluted nightmare. Same thing. Recorded on Pro Tools, and now it's getting mixed on not Pro Tools, and so none of the shit switches over. So, you know, it's all recorded in a bunch of different studios, yada yada. It's fun. Not. I mean, it is. It's a labor of love.
Yeah.
You got to do it. Like, but I wish I'd have done it more the way you're doing it and mixed as we went, because now it's just like so much shit.
Yeah, it is. And this particular record too is like it's more there's more layers to it. Not necessarily more. Well, it's kind of more tracks too than any record I've done. It's a little bit bigger in scope. It's a little bit more epic. It's got strings, a little more keys, you know, some stuff like that, some far out shit. You know, it's a lot of. It's kind of like my "Fuck You to the Man" album, kind of.
Nice.
But most of the songs on it go back to at least the year 2000. So it's so the songs are from like around the year 2000 or 2001 up through about 2017. So most of the material is, you know, really old.
Oh shit! This is your Chinese democracy then.
Yeah, I guess it is, except it's not Chinese.
Neither was the Guns N' Roses record. Really.
Yeah. Was that record any good at all? I never even heard it. I just heard of it for years, and I've never really been that into Guns N' Roses. But I was just curious.
I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan. When Izzy was in the band, and Justin Fremont from Just Free gave me a CD of it when it came out, but it was like burned from like these low bitrate MP3s, so it just sounded like shit. So I didn't give it, you know, any real listen or anything. But I actually wound up with a copy on vinyl, and it's aged amazingly well. Something like the electronic looping and stuff like that. And there's some really good songwriting on it. I don't consider it a Guns N' Roses record per se. It sounds more like what an Axl Rose record would probably sound like, but it's got some merit. It's worth listening to. Just don't go into it thinking it's, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with like Appetite for Destruction at all, really.
Yeah, they always had like select songs that I really liked, but as far as like putting them in there, listening to it for a long time, I couldn't handle the voice, that high pitched. Yeah. But I do like that song. That song Civil War is awesome, and that song Patience, I like that a lot.
Civil War is awesome. Patience was written by Izzy, solely Izzy. Pretty much all of Izzy's songs, like You Ain't the First, Mr. Brownstone.
Paradise City, I like that song a lot too.
I like after going through this not recent. Now to me, it's not a recent breakup, but the fallout's still recent. But from this crazy stalker person bitch that I was going to for a second, listening to Use Your Illusion 2, the fucking portion from the song Breakdown through Don't Cry is like, that's amazing to me. It's some great songwriting, great guitar work. And just when I was a kid, I'd hear a song like Locomotive and be like, oh my God, Axl Rose has got so many problems with women. He's a misogynist. How could he do it? But I still loved it, you know, the artistry
Yeah.
and the meter and everything. But now I'm like, oh, I get it, because I've been with somebody just like that, and he's not even a misogynist at all. Like,
Yeah. And man, when you get into that world, man, I used to, when I was younger and naive, and I was naive all the way up until I was probably 50. But yeah, it was everything was always, you know, peace and love, and you know, like the always like that until, man, you get hooked up with the right person that leads you down that path, man. It can put you in a dark place, man. Put your world, especially if you're someone who thinks nothing about concocting a whole another reality from the reality that you experienced. You're like, who the hell is this person talking about? Especially when they start blasting, going around telling everybody these stories and blah blah
Oh
blah.
yeah.
You know, just like, you
I've
know,
been dealing with all of that, man. I've been
yeah,
canceled. A bunch of the
yeah,
far left lunatic fringe in the area of outright canceled me because of something one person said that
yeah,
isn't based in reality. I got to be accountable in the fact that, you know, I put myself in that situation, and honestly, Daryl, what it did was it shined a light on my own toxicity and what I had inside me and what I wasn't
yeah,
dealing with that allowed someone like that to do those things, because ultimately I'm an adult and I made my own decisions now.
yeah.
That
And
night,
too, man, there's usually something, you know, there's something inside, you know, everyone that attracts them to the other person. And it could be your own demons and stuff that's attracting you to this person. Being with this forces you to acknowledge your own demons. Just what you're saying there, you know.
no, I was hiding from a lot of shit, a lot of unprocessed childhood trauma, and this is someone who would
Yeah,
allow me to live in that. And they're, you know, wanted to run their own game, and where I was easily manipulated because of position I was in. And going through all that, I was like, wow, maybe I didn't do what she says I did, but I'm not living my life in a good manner anyway. And it made me kind of step back and look at all that. And you know, nobody wants to admit, oh, I've got CPTSD or I have anxiety disorder or I have anything, but there's such an emphasis on, in my town, there's a parking structure that several people have killed themselves on, you know, by jumping off of. And a friend of mine had a couple years ago. Somebody recently did it, and there's this whole like petition to tear down the parking structure and blah blah blah. And I'm like, why don't we have a petition to make mental health free to anybody who
yeah,
needs help?
yeah.
You know, like, where's that fucking petition at? I don't get it.
That's kind of I don't know. It's like a misplaced
Straw man, right?
projecting, you know, onto this certain physical location that, you know, it's like, well, if you just tear that one down and anybody wants to kill themselves, they're just going to find another bridge or another building or another route. So why not tear down the Golden Gate Bridge and every fucking thing? You know, it just
Yeah, you
becomes fucking
know,
silly. I understand the sentiment behind it and everything, but it's just like, okay, yeah, maybe like some mental health.
an emphasis on it. You know,
Yeah,
nobody taught us anything about that in school. You know, there was all this do goody good bullshit. I don't even know what I really learned in high school for the most part.
I learned how
But
to have fun.
I
Yeah,
avoided that place a lot. I mean, it was
yeah.
all right. Yeah, I had fun. I went there a couple times.
I didn't really have I had a couple good years in elementary school where we lived one place long enough to I had some pretty good friends there, but you know, it wasn't up until I got like in 11th grade where I finally, it's like when I went to school, I didn't mind going because I wouldn't get my ass beat or punched or head kicked in or whatever. And I had some friends that were, you know, like-minded. So I had fun. And, you know, the last 2 years in high school, I had fun. First year in high school was a little, you know, a little bit of an acclimation, but I kind of enjoyed the last part of when I was in high school.
But my point
Yeah.
is I didn't have a great connection with my parents, and I still don't. They didn't
Hmm.
teach me like how to process things, and they didn't, you know, at school they didn't teach you about really taking care of your mental health and processing things and like how to deal with conflict really, and
Yeah.
you know, all these things that become issues as, you know, we get older and like we're experiencing, especially in this environment, in this society in 2023, we see so much of people who don't have connection to their community, to their parents,
Right.
to their school.
No,
And yeah.
no tools to deal. And, the era I come up with, the big thing was, shut up, stop whining, stop whining, bitch it, or suck it up.
The threat of an ass whooping was always imminent, and and I got beat a lot. And that was part of the
same here
for sure. Well, like my
know.
dad beat the shit out of my mom on the regular, and he beat the fuck out of me when I got older. And of course, I'm growing up, and like that's the CPTSD part. I have PTSD too from childhood trauma, and then recent trauma too. But all that's part of why I had such bad anxiety issues. And I would start smoking weed when I'm 10 years old. I'm like, fuck, I found the answer. So my emotional development kind of became arrested at that point in some ways. And like, I didn't really develop these other tools, and like I had to learn them on my own and get them together. Having the threat of an ass whooping always being imminent kind of kept me in line in some ways. I mean, and it wasn't even me. Like I could just be with my cousins, and my cousins do some fuck shit or be smoking a cigarette or something, and I get my ass beat just for being with them.
Guilty by association.
Yeah, and it could be anybody. It could be a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, an older cousin, my dad, and then whatever they tell my dad that I got my ass beat, then he's gonna beat my ass for getting my ass beat.
What sticks in my craw more than anything from child is not necessarily the ass beatings and stuff, but the shit that was said to me.
Yeah.
That sometimes that sticks in you just as much as the physical pisses you off. I still get fucking pissed off thinking, about.
I tell this story to this day, and like I say it in jest. Remember my dad grabbing me by the hair, my last $20, I went and bought records with it, and he grabbed me by the hair and he's screaming at me. He goes, "Those records will never fucking feed you." And then, I wound up running a record store, and I've got a record collection that's worth like, X amount of thousands of dollars, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then there's more to it than just telling it as a joke, like, there's some rancor there. There's still some bitterness. Him calling Jimi Hendrix an N-word when I've got a Jimi Hendrix poster hanging on my walls. Get that N-word off my wall. And I'm like, shit, man, I grew up on your Jimi Hendrix records, dude.
so he's listening. So he's listening to Jimi Hendrix and calling him that at the same time.
It was more. It was more to get at me,
Right. I hear you.
It was a breakdown of me after he'd been in the army and shit.
Yeah. It's just a thing, man. But people are like that, man. It's just like people only do what they're emotionally capable of doing. Only can give what they can give, and not an ounce more, man. It's just not saying what anybody did is not to justify any of it, but man, the human psyche is a deep thing, man, and it's nuanced, and it has all kind of ups and downs. And then on the other side of it, there's people growing shit, farming, creating stuff. So there's just, the human psyche is a complex thing, and you really can't put anything in one box, man.
I have to look at it from that angle of, this is somebody who was raised by my grandparents, and I look at this from the angle of both my parents were raised by these people who came up in the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl era and World War II, and they were just trying to survive, and like talking about your feelings was ridiculous to these people, right?
Yes.
They had shit to do, and so that's who my parents were kind of brought up by. And there was kind of a disconnect and a coldness, and like my parents wanted us to have more and better, and like I do have more and better now. And so what do we do with that? And it's like trying to fix that generational trauma is the key. Looking at it from that angle, I kind of got to give my dad some grace because he was right in the middle of 10 kids, and what he went through and the abuse and the shit that he saw and everything, and then going in the army and what in the fuck he saw in the army and the Nicaraguan conflict and all that shit down there.
Yeah, that's a whole different, that adds a whole nother level of, trauma onto everything.
Well, I mean, the key, I think, is getting that help and acknowledging that there's an issue here and dealing with it. And those are the people who are more successful and are able to kind of have relationships and go on. And like, I was in danger of, not ever really kind of getting it together. You did the right thing, and you're like, okay, man, I've been on the road with Mofro for, fucking decade. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to have some semblance of a real life. There's more to it than all this, and I can do this again if I want, and if I can do whatever else in the meantime. And for me, I hadn't dealt with shit. My relationship was in tatters with someone that I really cared about, and I wasn't really in touch enough with myself to deal with that. and I was tired of booking shows and like the rigmarole of constantly doing all that. And like I was living like I was on the road even when I wasn't. Like
Mm-hmm.
kind of there was just that, I just quit booking shows and I quit talking to everybody. I went and moved to the country and I just sat and I did drugs for like 2 years by myself. you know that wasn't the best thing for me, but I thought I was kind of broken and everything, and like getting back out and reconnecting with some people and reconnecting with the love of playing music with my friends just for the love of playing music, and not like having that whole, oh, we got shows and we got money and it's got to be this big production kind of thing, and just having it be more just about doing it for the right reasons has been kind of the tonic. And like now that I've been in therapy for a little while and I got out of this shitty toxic relationship and it's been a couple of years, like feel like I'm able to kind of move forward with my life, and I'll be able to kind of integrate music in a way that allows me to still have relationships with people and like roots and connections with
Yeah,
community and people
the
around
bit
me and that type of shit.
a big thing, man, with music that I've always gotten caught up in, and probably every other musician over the past 50 or 60 years who aspires to be, for lack of a better word, a rock star or whatever. It's always coming in. This is what you do. You write songs, you get in the band, you form
Yep.
it, you get a record deal, you go on tour, you have a pub, and all this shit. Seeing what I've seen is like, why in the fuck? I mean, but then you watch these documentaries, what's happened to all these bands from Van Halen to fucking Aerosmith, Skinner, Stones, James Brown, to, Rick James or whoever. And
All
you
of them.
see, and all of them, yeah, you see. So I mean, there are exceptions to the rules. Like you two, it seems like they've had a pretty good run without a lot of suffering on their part, as far as people
We
slagging them off. But everything has a price to it, and nowadays you don't necessarily have to build a music career. And like that, it can look different. It doesn't have to look like that, the traditional model. You just take the traditional model of the music that you learn and break it into 1,000 pieces and create something entirely fucking new, especially now that you can push a fucking button and have a worldwide audience in an instant, sitting in your bedroom. It's a complete game changer. It's just a matter of the rest of the world kind of catching up to that technology, like how it has in the podcast world with comedians. It's created this whole new thing, and I think it's sort of done that for music too. But I don't think the music has coalesced around the whole possibility yet. It's still kind of entrenched in that you must go tour, you must go record an album, you must promote single, you must get a record deal, you must do this, you must do that.
There are these conglomerates of people and corporations who make money off
Oh
of
yeah,
that, and like
yeah,
otherwise they wouldn't have an industry, like, because they don't make music and they don't really do much but promote that and facilitate that whole structure. And for me, I have no interest in being a part of that unless you're going to pay
yeah,
me millions of dollars, and like I'm on a plush ass tour bus and flying, and you know what I'm saying, and like catered
yeah,
meals, and like doing like Motley fucking Crue or whoever, the Taylor Swift or Aerosmith and guys like that. And if you're doing it on that level and you can take your families with you and
yeah,
everybody live in luxury and have your needs catered, okay, yeah, I can do that and still go to school and still do the shit that I need to do for my life and have these connections, then that's cool. But like they dangle these carrot in front of these young bands,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
they're like, can you buy onto a tour maybe? And all
yeah,
you do is you're hoping to fucking your band doesn't break down so you can make it
yeah,
to the big huge show and sell enough merch and fucking pay for your hotels and your food and all this
yeah.
shit, because you really don't have much provided for you and you're really toughing it out and you're supposed to be grateful that you're there. I've had enough
Yeah,
of that shit.
and you can, but it's just like,
Those are the
yeah,
good
yeah,
shows because you still have to do the fucking shitty one nighter, the bar fucking shows with 3 hours, the
yeah,
place covers fucking for $1,000, and you like beat your ass up and you're so tired the next day, and like you got to go to the next place or go back home and you're worthless for a couple of days. That whole wheel I have no interest in, and if you don't do that, then it's almost kind of impossible because you can't make it selling actual records and downloads anymore because nobody really buys that shit. Everybody streams everything and we get fucking fractions
yeah.
of a penny per stream.
But the thing is, though, I mean, you can kind of create nowadays. You can kind of create your own world. You don't necessarily have to go through one of these intermediary or whatever you call it. You know, you
No,
don't have
yeah,
to,
that's the problem with their model. That's the problem with
yeah,
their model. The way, you know, like you're doing it, and bands like I see are doing it, and like to a lesser extent us, is like we have our own audience and our core people, and you can count on X amount of people to buy X number of anything you put out. And then once you just start kind of adding on to that, the idea is to just make it sustainable and to make it pay for
exactly,
itself, you know, and to
exactly.
not have it be in the red.
Yeah, you don't have to be fucking Led Zeppelin or any of these bands that big, but most of those bands to me, like from the '70s that I like and stuff, man. When they started doing it, man, they were just playing music. They wasn't trying to play Rolling Stones wasn't trying to play stadiums. The Beatles wasn't trying to play
Nope.
stadiums. None of those bands were. They just
They
started
just
fucking,
rocketed it.
Stevie Wonder wasn't trying to, do this or that. He's just like in there, they're just playing music and making records,
Prince.
and one thing, Prince. There's another one.
All of them started
I
at a
mean,
grassroots level. Smashing Pumpkins.
yeah,
A 4-track and a drum machine, bro. You know,
yeah,
it is what
and
it is, man.
yeah,
You do what you do, and if you can take it to that level, then that's cool or whatever. But I would want something to happen organically, and not have to
yeah,
compromise my ideals. There's so much compromise that it seems like has to happen in order for that I've seen. Like the
yeah,
deal that we had on the table from Ryan whenever he was in Shaman's Harvest, they had like a sideman clause or whatever, to where anything he put out within X amount of time, they had first right of refusal on. And it was like where you
yeah,
basically sign it and they put your shit out and you owe them X amount of dollars, and then
yeah,
they give you a loan to tour on, and you have to be on the road for like X amount of time, and you
yeah,
have to go through their fucking booking agent, and their publishing gets X amount. And I was just like, this is a terrible fucking deal, you
yeah.
know.
Was it ones they got now or a while back 360 deal?
That's what it
Where
is. I don't know what it was called. I didn't want to know what it was called. I'm like, I'm not signing
this.
this.
There's like, yeah, it's like, hey, take that, shove that 360 right up your fucking ass,
Yeah,
I'd rather just fucking just work a regular job and play music on my terms and be involved in something where you're subservient to this entity that, it's not even like it started out as. It's become something, but now you're subservient to it,
right.
and it's like, and there's no, if you break away from it, you're fucking done, and it's almost,
They'll bury
like,
you and make sure you never have a fucking chance to do shit ever again.
or at least make life extremely difficult for you. And the fucking fucked up thing about it is
Look at Badfinger.
yeah, exactly, dude. Fucking, it's like if you just cooperate people and be cool and don't be fucking greedy, everybody can be a fucking winner. It could be everything could be great. Motherfuckers' egos get in the way, and that could be the artist's ego, or it could be the management ego, or record label dude's ego. Everybody's got, egos to a degree, so.
Well,
But,
yeah, and I mean, any number of things can get behind all that, but I mean, you
yeah,
kind of get out of all that, and you realize what's really important.
yeah,
I want to make records that I like, that I get behind, and that means something to me and the people around me and in my community, and like everything else will hopefully kind of take care of itself. And like
yeah,
when the pandemic hit in 2020 and everything shut down, I just went back to school. Now I'm getting ready to graduate with my undergrad, and I'm going to grad school. The state of Missouri's paying for me to go to grad school, so like I'm doing that, and that's a priority more than music. And like music's just kind of starting to fit in, and we're writing new songs. They're different songs. I don't even know if it's going to be called Driving Wheel. It's so different, which is cool too, to have kind of two different outlets maybe, or whatever.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I just spent $30, got the cables to pipe in a mic into this iPhone, and when I try to do it, I finally figured out that when they put out the iOS 16 point whatever, that it doesn't have the thing where you can select an external mic.
Right.
So they probably did that to sabotage podcasters and stuff like that.
For sure. Make you buy
That's what
some other thing.
Yeah, make them buy something else, buy another cable. Fucking.
Well, I mean, I do things the hard way. I record everything like linear and into my 24-bit PCM recorder and edit it all in my digital audio workstation. But Spotify for podcasters has like a button where you can just download the app and hit it and record it right on your phone and upload it right from there.
Yeah, I gotta figure that stuff out. I'm too focused on trying to finish recording right now.
Any chance of vinyl pressings coming anytime
Well, going forward, that's probably what I'm going to do. Is just this new record. It's probably going to be the first one on vinyl. I'm just going to, even if I have to get like 50 copies made or whatever, the short run, I'm just going to put it out on vinyl.
Here's the thing: you're going to get a minimum of 200, I would assume, because the expensive part's getting the mastering done,
Yeah.
lacquer's cut. You know,
Yeah.
after that, the records are cheap.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you
Well,
just gotta
then maybe 201 then.
Yeah, right.
But something like that. But yeah, I'm totally gonna get this done on vinyl and then put the digital out and then go back through the catalog and do the rest of them on vinyl at some point.
Heck yeah, you still got all the master tape mix down.
Shit.
I think.
Yeah, I think I just yanked my eardrum out there.
No, you need them.
Yeah, I got everything on half-inch tape mastered. And I got the digital masters and all that stuff.
Send it up to Carl Saff and fucking have him cut the lacquers and have it pressed somewhere like Gotta Groove or QRP, RTI.
Hopefully I can get it finished if not by the end of this month, hopefully by the end of June, I'll have it wrapped up and can look to having it come out like in the fall sometime.
You got a title yet?
I do. But I'm not going to say anything and sabotage it.
Right.
Dude, I've had so many false starts with this.
You got a title yet?
I do. But I'm not going to say anything and sabotage it.
Right.
Dude, I've had so many false starts with this fucking record, man. Like, all right, it's back off. So I'm not going to say anything until.
Not going to do the big things coming post on the Facebook.
I already made a trailer for it, to a little short clip. It's like a movie trailer for it, but I'm not even gonna put that out there till it's fucking in the bucket. They're coming soon, but
wait until you have it mixed and mastered first.
Yeah, wait, once it's mastered, okay, and this looks like it's okay, this has actually happened, then I'll do something. But I think it's my masterpiece or a masterpiece in the form it's in. We'll see how that goes. Everybody else might say, man, that fucking sucks, man.
I doubt that. I mean, I'm sure if you
think it's
the way I've always looked at everything is if I dig it, and I'm feeling it, somebody's gonna dig it and feel it.
Yeah, I hope so. But I dig it, man. Just I was wanting to do an album that kind of showcased like my darker material, and that's kind of what I set out to do, to set out my dark material. So I kind of went back through my song collection or whatever, and then pulled some songs, pulled all the dark songs out and threw them down and recorded about 16, 17 of them, 18 of them, and then like 10 or 11 of them, I think 9 songs and 1 instrumental, I think how it worked out.
Nice.
And it just fell right together, pretty quickly. And then I had one more song, the 10th song that come to me about a year after I started, and I threw that down, and that's the one I'm doing, getting B to play drums on this week. Yeah, just kind of come up with a good title for it that kind of centered around this dark theme, and everything just fell in place off of that. What I wrote on here is like, in many ways, this is very much my Fuck You to the Man album, and is what I believe to be some sort of an unusual Southern Gothic masterpiece of some otherworldly nature, is what I kind of wrote on the bio here. By track number 3, its uplifting, gritty start has descended and spiraled off into a bleak but beautiful lament about an unworkable betrayal, and in no particular order, sharp lyrical skewerings of mankind and its ongoing rape of the natural world. The mindset of nature is disposable, and nature will most definitely and always has the last laugh. Legalized property and land grabs and other shady acquisitions that heartlessly feed on and exploit the powerless, clueless, modernized humans. calling out no-name warmongering politicians and media talking heads that sell you wars on behalf of their elitist owners, sinister elitist practices, a prayer for reprieve and for the summer rain to come and wash it all away and leave everything here just as bright as day, unwillingly passing along your grief to your children and leaving them with your baggage, which kind of is what we discussed earlier. A song about that. A song about that is called "Over the Waterfall." Nice. And another song. The album is closed out by a song called "And He Wants Your Soul," and it's about businessmen who seem quite happy and content just taking unsuspecting people for everything, and the internal battles between good and evil. That song in particular, that we were just talking about the story of Badfinger and Pete Ham. And what happened to him and that other guy? What happened to that band in particular? That's kind of that's sort of what inspired that song.
Anybody who's listening who doesn't know the story of Badfinger, fucking Wikipedia that shit and just read what happened to those guys. Holy
yeah,
fuck.
and there's a couple of good documentaries out there too. I can't remember them by name, but yeah, those dudes got fucked, man. Dude just being naive, man, believing the best in people, man. You know, and then somebody's just too happy to take advantage, and well, you know, he feels it's his obligation to take full advantage to fuck this guy over because, well, he's naive. Hey, fuck, I'll just go ahead and do it. If I don't do it, somebody else will. And it's like, yeah, that's a great way to, you know, justify it in your own head, I guess, you know.
Well, I mean, look at the Rolling Stones and Alan Klein, and the Beatles and Alan Klein, and anybody who had anything to do with Alan Klein, Sam Cooke and Alan Klein. All of them, like that guy robbed everybody blind. There's so many stories of that. And I mean, and it happens not on that level. Like, again, it happens to people every day with the best of intentions. I know me.
Oh, yeah.
Once my naivety was kind of taken away, like I felt like kind of the loss of that childhood innocence or whatever. But the reality is that's like when I started becoming a real, not that I wasn't a man before legally and, you know, in a lot of ways, but where I became a real man, like the accountability of me and what I have to do for me kind of really set in. And, you know, it's a big moment, I think, for people when that happens, hopefully when it happens for people.
Yeah. Yeah. Did it for me. I've had a couple of those in recent times, one about 15 years ago. Well, actually several from 10 to 15 years ago. Then here more recently, I had a pretty good one too. Yeah, it's just being stupid, man.
I have to give myself some grace on some shit because I just didn't know, you know, and like, is that stupid? It's more ignorance. I was just ignorant and blind and naive. I wasn't stupid, and you're not a stupid person. And I don't want to believe people are stupid. We just make bad decisions based on whatever information we have at the time and whatever our trauma has deluded us into believing or what we want to believe versus, you know, the reality that we're presented with. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's like all rainbows and unicorns and everything's great. Fucking, you know, it's like the line that I have in that song I was just talking about, that Andy wants your soul, is kind of like that. It's just like they paint you a nice, pretty picture with all shiny and gold. That you buy into, then until that damn fucking demon comes out.
Oh, that's
it's
it.
Like, you know, it's like,
and it's the true measure of someone's character, you know, how they respond when that demon comes out and when shit gets bad or whatever. Anybody can be cool and be awesome and be like the best guy in the world when everything's going great, but whenever you know, shit starts going south and things are really bad, like how you respond, that's the true measure of someone's character, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely, man, relevance to that, man. It's like maybe not every time, but the majority of the time, that's pretty much it, man.
I just think the older you get, you know, like you get those epiphanies, but they don't stop. There's different levels to your self-awareness and to what you see and to what you understand. And hopefully, in my experience, the older I get, the more of those I have and the more frequently I have them. So hopefully, I don't want them to happen as extreme, you know, such a life-shaping fashion and like a life-altering fashion.
Right.
But I welcome the change and I welcome the growth. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be able to see things for, how they are, and like be in this position and have this perception and this perspective.
Yeah, I think the older generation, man, like our parents' generation, man, they probably learned it a lot earlier.
If they learned it at all.
Yeah, but the as far as being naive and stuff like that, but our parents' generation is when the advent of television and media propaganda come in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like my parents spent like 30 to, well, my mom now since the 50s, so 60 years, sitting in front of the television watching the news 2 or 3 times a day. Now they just sit there and watch the news,
All day.
all day long. It's all they consume. So it's like,
CNN constantly.
Yeah, and fucking Fox News and what they don't really understand is, like, you do realize that all these companies are owned by the same or group of entities. And if if you're fucking putting all your eggs in fucking, just say for instance CNN, and then, well, Fox News is the enemy, then fucking, a year later it's like Fox News is right and CNN's wrong, then it's fucking back and forth. So they just keep fucking mind fucking either way. And it's like,
I liken it to pro wrestling,
yeah,
where,
exactly.
pro wrestling for people without a sense of humor, it's like
If you
whoever,
fucking
right, the American
fucking
dream, he's my guy, it
like,
depends on what side you're on. That's the good guy. That's the
yeah,
side you root for, and his enemy is your enemy. And you're like, I hate that guy. I like, Dusty Rhodes. That's my dude. Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair go back behind the thing, and after they have the match,
yeah,
and they're like high fiving and having a
high-fiving, yeah,
beer, and like, yeah, we made so much money. And that's just like all the politicians. Like, you seen that
yeah.
picture, Trump with the Clintons, and they're like, hey, we've all got
Oh
so
yeah,
much
yeah, 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 yeah.
money.
Fucking, it's just like fucking, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny sometimes, man. But like, what was some of the wrestlers back then? It was like, I didn't really watch wrestling, but my granddad, he watched. So we come to Florida, he'd be watching it, and I had a sister that had a boyfriend that watched it. But it was like, even as a kid, I was like, man, that shit's fucking fake, But I remember they
I
had
don't.
fucking Dusty Rhodes, Black Atlas, some dude that had a mask on that fucking, he was like the unknown wrestler or some shit. I can't remember what he's called, but they all had killer characters though. I don't remember the Ric Flair. I didn't see that, but I do remember distinctly Dusty Rhodes and Black Atlas and the dude that had a mask on. That, I remember one match they pulled the other wrestler pulled the mask off of him,
And he
it
had a
was this
mask on underneath the mask.
I don't know if he did or not, but I just remember it was a big deal. It was like, who shot JR like back then or some shit,
Yeah, that's the whole
It was a
thing.
big deal.
It's not even supposed to be taken seriously. It's a big male soap opera, and that's kind of
Yeah.
That's how football's gotten now too, and like
Yeah.
it's entertainment.
Yeah, it is entertainment at best, man. It's
People are like, it's fake. Wrestling's fake. Football's fake. I'm like, well, that show Ozark. The dude's name ain't really Marty Bird. They ain't really like drug smugglers and money launderers. And that show isn't even shot in the fucking Ozarks. It's shot in Georgia. All right. It is what it is. You're watching fake. It's fake. It's scripted. Yeah, it's the suspension of disbelief. You're watching TV either way, whether it's the news, pro wrestling, it's a fucking TV show. Understand that you're consuming a consumable product that someone has produced and put together for you to elicit a response, a reaction, and make you fucking feel something. It's not real.
Yeah, and nowadays they have like hundreds of different streams. And so you're tuning into this stream over here or a few streams. So you're getting all your information through here. And then your iPhone here, in all your fucking communication shit, it's all these social media companies are taking your data, and all these people are taking your data, figuring out, what got you in a fucking box, and they feed them this, and they feeding you more shit here. And then everybody, looking over here, they're tuned into stream number 785, and they're feeding shit to that. It's just like this fucking matrix of mind fuckery that you're getting manipulated with. And the whole idea that it's chaos, but it ain't completely chaos. It's fucking it's a tool. It's a manipulation tool, or it is being used as a manipulation tool. It's not necessarily just a manipulation tool, but it's just the whole idea that it's like that it's just benign. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like a motherfucker. One time I went to see the Rolling Stones in Jacksonville back in 1989. And I had a little Toyota Corolla piece of shit from 1976 parked in the parking lot, the worst fucking car in the whole lot. And I had some change, like probably 30 cents in an ashtray in the center. There's always cars parked around, and someone broke in the fucking car. Of all people, of all cars, they broke into my car to fucking steal pocket change. Motherfuckers will shoot somebody for $5, $10, $20, and you're trying to tell me that fucking governments and whoever else won't kill people to fucking, push agendas and narratives. It's like, fucking grow up. They want to pretend like, that bury their head in the ground, pretend like there's not some kind of skullduggery going on in the world. That skullduggery doesn't exist in the world. That fucking George Bush loves you. The fucking Bill Clinton loves you. Fucking, and all these people fucking, they just love you. Joe Biden loves me. I doubt that's the extent of today, but back in like the 2090s, it was a lot more people bought into it because there just wasn't, you couldn't go look on the fucking internet and get any other opinion or another point of view or anything. It was what you watched on fucking CNN or read in the newspaper was all the fucking information you had, unless you really fucking dug. Now you can just fucking Google something and it pulls it up, or whatever the search engine you want to use. But it's just the whole idea.
No, back then, anybody who thought outside of that box and who dared to put forth ideas that weren't regimented, you were on the fringe or whatever. Like, I was scared.
You're a goddamn nutcase. Dude, fucking 30 years ago in the early 90s, if you would have said to anyone about your money is not government backed or anything. The Federal Reserve is its own entity. It's privatized. So fucking, the IRS technically shouldn't even fucking be allowed to operate and all this shit. People look at you like you're fucking crazy, man. What the hell are you talking? What do you mean our money isn't backed by the government? That's just fucking stupid, But nowadays, it's really surprising how much of that shit is common knowledge nowadays, and that's just the tip of the iceberg there,
Well, it threatens people's idea of security, and it causes cognitive dissonance because they don't want to believe that. And when they have to face it, it unravels this whole other thing. That's when like Project MK Ultra and like COINTELPRO and Chaos and things like that, you start digging deeper, and you're like, holy shit! Not only does our government not have our best interests at hand, they're actively conspiring against us and purposely feeding us misinformation in order to pit us against each other. I mean, the racial divide isn't imagined, it's real, but it's only real on TV, and it's real, and it's propagated by the government and by the powers that be and by the Illuminati to keep us all divided, because a house divided, can't topple them, and that 1% will stay in power as long as we're all divided about homosexual rights and diversity and racist and women's rights and abortion rights and all these other things. If we're going to fight over all this shit and not work together, then they're going to stay in power. And
everybody's getting their chain pulled, man. If they get tired of race, they just go from thing to thing. However they can manipulate and divide people, they do it. It's just like the best example I've kind of come up with it is just like, to bring it back to reality, is this last election cycle we had back a couple years ago, where Donald Trump got 80 million votes or something like that. I could give a fuck less about Donald Trump or any of them really, but fucking
any of them.
But point being is like what they want you to believe is they want you to believe there are 80 million white supremacists, but they want you to believe there's 80 million white supremacists running around the country, amassing, coming to get you. They're coming to get us.
They're coming to take away women's rights and fucking give guns to the kids, and we're, I get it, man.
But the thing is, man, it's just like, okay, let's just take a simple mathematical equation here. There's about 350 million people in the country, so that's what they're trying to imply, is that 1 out of 4 or 5 people that that we all know is a white supremacist. That's what they're trying to fucking convince you
They're
of.
trying to
It's just
convince
like,
you that,
it's just
hold
like,
on, this is the thing that people fucking believe, Daryl.
maybe there is, maybe.
No, but they want motherfuckers to believe that there are people that hate other people just because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
What? No.
Yeah. There are, but goddamn, I mean, you'd
There
have to
are people who are probably racist in their views just because they,
people are
you know,
prejudiced. There's
people are
definitely people that are prejudiced
But
in their views and stuff. But
if it does happen, it gets outed, and you know, like that
Right,
reality of it.
there's, and I hear what you're saying, but the whole thing is just like hip hop has been the #1 selling music for the past 30 years. All these young kids are fucking hip hop. Even the fucking country redneck motherfuckers they're blending fucking hip hop into country and stuff.
Dude,
And rock and beat. So
while
you're
we're on this subject, I'm watching this
Uh-huh.
Rodney Mills interview. You know who Rodney Mills is?
I don't.
Rodney Mills was the engineer at Studio One in Doraville, Georgia. He engineered
Right. They worked on the Skinner record.
First
Yeah,
Skinner record and Street Survivor, Atlanta Rhythm Section, yes, and all this shit.
Yeah.
You know what he does now? He has
his own
mastering studio, and he mixes and masters hip hop music, like fucking Bone Crusher and fucking shit, like, and all these people, like the new hip hop things that like they play at the Atlanta Falcons game and all this shit. So even Rodney Mills that's where the work is, bro. That's where people have money, and that's, you know, what it is. Yeah, 100%. That is. And I mean, I love Ludacris. I love Outkast. I love some really good hip hop. There's a new kid, Lil Baby.
I don't know any of the new stuff. I've always been like more like the Public Enemy and X Clan. The stuff from the late 80s, early 90s, Diggable Planets. I like them a lot.
Yeah, Wu-Tang Clan. I love all the shit that I liked when I was a kid. And I mean, I'm like that with metal too, really. Even more so with metal than I am with hip hop, because as a bass player, I love groove and I love beats and I love, you know, lyrical flow and shit. But what I really liked was what I liked when I was a kid. And same with metal. I like Pantera and Metallica albums from the 80s and the early 90s and, you know, shit like that. Megadeth. From that era.
Yeah, I go and listen to I'm kind of finicky when it comes to metal. I'm not really an enthusiast. I like Black Sabbath, some Metallica songs.
I don't consider
that's kind of like more blues rock, groove, or
they're stoner rock, like, you know, sleep. So I mean, and I've got to be in the mood for it, but I like, and
I do like Rammstein.
In industrial metal, like Nine Inch Nails and the
I love
Marilyn
Nine
Manson
Inch Nails
records from that time and stuff like that. So
the Ministry, I like that too. There's
Psalm 69.
But yeah, that whole thing of there's like just amassing white supremacist fucking thing is fucking stupid. I mean, to give it, there's probably some of it in pockets, but you know, it's just like fucking nobody's going to tolerate that shit. Do you see how fucking people lashed out to begin with over the past few years when they even think it's fucking out there? You know, it's like nobody wants that. Nobody wants that fucking shit, man. It's just like there's a great documentary on that was on HBO in the early 90s. I'll send you a link to it, man. It's it was an HBO documentary. It was about this dude Bill Riccio. He was just white supremacist dude in Alabama that had this group of kids and stuff. And they talk about all these harsh and these hushed tones, like he was involved with the KKK and all this other shit. And then they do a documentary following this dude around, and he's a fucking buffoon. And all they do is buy cheap. He gets these fucking young, disenfranchised fucking young white kids and fucking just fills them full of bullshit and fucking old Milwaukee's best. And they, Hail Bill Ratio. Fuck, God damn, I did it again. But fucking, we used to watch that shit in the early 90s, man. I taped it off of HBO on a video cassette. And we used to laugh our fucking asses off, man. Fucking this shit was so fucking stupid. And they're trying to present it to you like this is a real fucking threat. And they were, in the documentary, they're even doing this fucking rally. And it was in I think it was in Birmingham. It was one of those Alabama cities. And even the fucking cops, man, there's black cops and white cops, even they're just like, they're letting them fucking do their rally, but they're just like kind of looking at these guys like, God, these are idiots, man. What the fuck? But my point is if you just watch that documentary, that is what they're trying to fucking tell you is amassing and fucking, is going to fucking become this big thing, man. That's
Well,
not to say that, and that's not to say that white supremacy doesn't exist, that racism doesn't exist or anything. It does exist, but the idea that it's just this big fucking force is just going to take over everything is fucking stupid. It's not like in the 1930s when the fucking Nazis were coming up. There wasn't no fucking, they owned the fucking network back then, the fucking what little bit of broadcasting there was. They owned the propaganda. They could go off in here and hide at fucking concentration camps in the fucking woods somewhere. They could do all this shit because there was no eyes. There's fucking eyes everywhere nowadays. You can't do fucking shit. You can't take a shit without fucking, something,
right.
Getting spied upon. You scratch your ass and it fucking shows up, in your feed.
You look at Charles Manson, and what they wanted people to believe about Charles Manson is like,
Yeah.
he wanted to start a race war, and he dosed your kids with acid and played them the Beatles record and brainwashed them to go kill people. Now, what part of that fucking makes sense to you?
Yeah, well, it makes sense in the context of the book and the story and what's fed to you over the headlines. But that one dude
Tom O'Neill.
Is that the dude that wrote the book? Yeah.
Chaos. Absolutely.
On
Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, old racist Rogan at it again. But anyway,
yeah, whatever.
Okay, that's just fucking stupid.
Tom O'Neill. Yeah, so he blows all this shit. So the thing is that the government tried to force feed us this bullshit about how if you let your kids eat acid and listen to the Beatles and hang out with these hippie gurus, they're gonna fucking go nuts and kill people. Because that's what they do.
Some of them might, but but when the MK Ultra gets involved, they'll probably do it a lot quicker.
Well, the MK Ultra gets involved, exactly. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so like they had all this, and this was the propaganda that they fed people, and they wanted to turn people against hippies, and Charles Manson was a racist, and like this whole thing, and so it was all staged. It's my opinion that Sharon Tate was probably a hit. That shit's on film somewhere. It's a snuff film,
But it was just when I seen that dude on there, man, it's just all the shit he was talking about.
Yeah,
it was just like when he starts fucking what he found, and it's funny the way he stumbled into it because he was writing a magazine article. Someone sanctioned him, and then he ended up spending 20 years researching all this shit and uncovering all these damn leaves and rocks, and it's just like.
And Daryl, in 2007, when my first wife was pregnant, I was in Chicago and I was reading the book by Ed Sanders called The Family. Ed Sanders called The Family. Yeah. And I started putting this shit together myself from that book and just from what I know and like how it didn't add up. And I started seeing this theme, this thread from World War II through Kennedy and Vietnam. And Watergate and the Iran-Contra and the Clintons and Desert Storm and all the way through up into today in the military-industrial complex. And John Lennon's assassination looms large in all of that too. That was definitely a political hit, and a lot of that doesn't add up. So you start throwing all that in there, and our government. I think there was a coup d'état on November 22nd, 1963, when our people within our government, the CIA and Alan Dooley's overthrew President Kennedy and had him killed. President Nixon was probably the last president with any real autonomy, and he really pissed a lot of people off with his diplomatic relations with China and the advancements that he made with things like that. And so I think Watergate was a setup that he was set up to take the fall. Now, he was paranoid and he fucked up by making all those tapes, obviously, but he obviously had a reason to be paranoid. Because they were out to fucking get him, and they did. And ever since then, no president's had any real autonomy, and there's kind of under the same regime that has always been, and as a pendulum, and they do it to go from one extreme to the other to piss all the extreme people off and to bring in the fringe people. So like we go from somebody who's like fucking, Nixon, they're like pisses all the left wingers off and keeps us in Vietnam and all this shit. And he was from the old school. And then we swing the pendulum to Ford, who was like was he even president? I don't know. And then, Jimmy Carter is even more of the same. We're like, did anything change? Like that guy was so.
I think Carter got in there on a fluke because they didn't anticipate the support that he got. I think a lot of those guys too, they don't necessarily know what they're getting into until
Oh,
like
no.
Like Bill Hicks said, they get the new president, they take him into the smoky room with the 12 industrialists, pull down the screen, and they show him a picture of this, a film of the clip of the assassination from a different angle, and then the screen rolls back up. Any questions what your agenda is?
Right. The thing is, you go from like Carter, you couldn't go from one extreme to more extreme to go from Carter to like Reagan Bush.
Yeah.
That was like a shock to the world.
Well, I think once Bush come in as vice president, I think that's when it really kind of started. Everything started getting infiltrated on a bigger level, normalized and infiltrated as far as all the institutions and everything.
Industrialized for profit.
And just locking that shit down.
We've got Vice President Bush in, and so this is when my dad was in Honduras in 1986, and they were flying all of those guns and the money in to fund all the Nicaraguan rebels to the Contras to fight their government, and they were bringing the planes back to Mena, Arkansas. Governor Bill Clinton was taking all the cocaine off of those planes.
The cocaine and snorting it.
They're snorting it. Hoover Bill, man. That's what they call him. That is how an unknown backwoods hick redneck governor of Nowheresville, Arkansas, Bill Clinton, that they call Hoover Bill, who snorts and fucks everything in sight.
Plays ball.
Goes and plays saxophone on Arsenio Hall, snuffs out anybody who fucking says anything, distributes the cocaine, and he gets to become president because he's the nation's #1 dope dealing hitman.
The funny thing is, man,
they say that Bush, and he's such an extreme from Bush or whatever, and then we go 2 terms of that, and we go back to another Bush, to his son, and more of the same shit. And how do we go from that extreme to another? Well, we'll put a black guy with a Muslim name in, and that'll really piss off all the rednecks.
Yeah. The beauty of that is if you say anything, hey man, I'm not so sure about this dude, you get labeled a racist,
Immediately.
It's just like any of those guys, man, there are certain things they do that are good, but they're going to have to give you some sugar, with the salt. While they're stripping rights away, they got to give you some gold coins, or they got to give you something that keeps everybody happy to a degree.
And after watching Bernie Sanders get sandbagged from within, Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton collude to take the nomination away from him. Like, I didn't even go vote, like, in the presidential election in 2016. I sat home and got stoned and watched with this detached bemusement as Donald Trump fucking took that shit, because the Electoral College, there was no way they were going to put that fucking crazy bitch in the office.
I went and voted for Ron Paul in the primary back in 2012, but soon after that, they had the establishment handing his walking papers. He's a racist. He's a white supremacist, Ron Paul. So I was like, the gig is up. They ain't gonna let that dude in there. So,
Daryl, I haven't voted for a president since Ralph Nader in 2000.
Shit. I said fucking voting for Ron Paul or in the primary is the only time I've ever bothered, because I see what's going on. Fuck, I know. It's like, am I going to vote for fucking Hillary Clinton or fucking Donald Trump? I don't give a fuck about either one of them.
Yeah. So like, I stayed home, and so I watched, and
if you don't vote, you can't bitch. Well, you can bitch, because if you're voting, you're also you're perpetuating.
You're co-signing it. I'm okay with this process.
The lyric in Free Will by Rush, if you choose not to decide, you have still made a choice. It's just like we have 31 flavors of ice cream, 64 flavors of toothpaste, shoes with fish aquariums in there, and 2 parties. 2016 election, the thing that was amusing about that is overnight, the Libertarian, all those other parties, Green Party, Libertarian, and where the fuck else parties they had back then, which are still around, but they were actually, the 3, 4, 5 different parties were actually gaining as a force, to compete with the Democratic and Republican Party back then in 2016. It's like overnight, that shit was gone. The conversation went back to fucking Democrats and Republicans shooting spitballs at each other again. And nobody's talking about Libertarian Party or the Green Party or whatever the fuck these other parties are. It's just like they disappeared out of the conversation like overnight, but not completely, but in the mainstream, they just kind of went away. And then here we are talking about fucking goddamn Clinton and Bush and fucking Trump and all these other motherfuckers again,
Well, here's the ultimate irony about that is I realistically thought it was going to be another Clinton. I thought we were going from I thought it was going from Reagan, Bush to fucking Clinton to Bush to Obama to Clinton, and then it was going to be Jeb Bush again. I thought that they had this monopoly on it. But then, seriously, I could have seen it like that. But I had called at a friend's like 10 years before. I had said it's going to be Jerry Springer, but I was a little off. It was Donald Trump. But the thing about all that was Bernie Sanders was an independent and he ran as a Democrat because he didn't think he'd get any traction. So the Democrats sandbagged him from within, colluded to fucking pull the nomination from him and put their own person. And all these people that were Bernie or bust, then were like, oh fuck, I guess we're voting for Hillary. Like, what the fuck is this shit?
Dude.
No.
It's like
no.
I got are you gonna call this episode Conspiracy Theories 101?
Oh, this ain't even conspiracy theory. Yeah. So people, we're just lubing them up.
The reason I bring that up is because it's like most people, I reckon, probably aren't even aware that like this term conspiracy theory was introduced by the CIA post Kennedy assassination to quell dissent, to shut people up. Oh, that's just silly conspiracy, but it's funny how they brought that word back up. And because people can't wrap their head around, hey, there's more to the world than what you see on CNN and Fox News and all this shit, that it's just silly, because it's just like talking to people about religion, man. If anybody that's a devout Christian or any of these other faiths, you start asking them questions about the religion that they can't answer, that makes them feel uncomfortable, they get fucking pissed at you and start, they hold their beliefs.
Political people do it.
Yeah. And it's the same fucking difference, man.
Like I get on the whole thing with religion is it's like, it's a personal thing. It's a belief. And I don't have to prove it to anybody. So I'm never going to get defensive over that.
And it does, God doesn't require a middleman to reach.
No.
You don't need a middleman. And it's all the same shit,
But people, they get offended, man. The whole conspiracy theory thing, like the people who want you to believe that these are just conspiracy theories are the same fucking people that sold the public this magic bullet theory about a fucking magic bullet that went this way and that way and through him. They're like, and people are like, well, that defies physics and all laws of fucking everything. How did that happen? Science wants to know, and the government's like, it was a magic bullet. Anyone who thinks otherwise is a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, we've got it all figured out for you. Here's Roy with the weather or whatever.
Yeah. Here's sports with John.
Yeah, fucking here. Like I love Bill Hicks. It's like, here, watch this, America. Go back to sleep. Like, here's 56 channels, and now it's fucking 10,000 channels. But
we only have one, Daryl. It's called Pornhub, buddy. Whoop, whoop,
whoop.
Boom.
Funny. Now I was talking when I brought up Joe Rogan earlier. It's just funny how they tried to smear him as a racist and stuff. And then 2 episodes later, you see Snoop Dogg on there and all these black dudes and fucking.
That's funny because the people who say that about me now, I'm a woman beater and I'm a racist. And I'm this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And it's like, come over to my house and you will literally be hanging out with black women who will kick your ass for calling me a woman beating racist.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
Man, people believe. People say shit, the first one to say it, or they hear it here, they just automatically believe it, man. It's even knowing the nature of how that shit is, it's still hard not to fucking.
And I had to quit taking it personally because anybody who believes that, one, isn't thinking nobody cares that it's me or these are real people's lives or anything. They just like dirty laundry. And they don't want to focus on themselves. So what's being said isn't really being said about me is the first way I look at it. And the second part about it is any press is good press. And like, if I'm going to live rent free in people's heads and they're going to do that and they're going to talk about me and they don't want to, they're going to like cancel me or whatever. Like, I'm okay with that because a lot of these people, if they thought about it, if they know me at all, they know I've never been anybody other than who I am.
Right.
Speak of me as you find. Okay. So there's that.
Right.
So they're not doing it. So they've got problems within themselves, whatever. Also, that they've kind of increased the quality of the people in my life by taking themselves out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's also
so
there's also the thing of, man, like with people in general, man, it's like in other words, not look at other people and think, man, they got it made. They think that your life is so bad. And it's like you have no idea
well,
what
there
other people are
other
going
people are
through. Because,
going through.
dude,
Yep.
there's fucking people that are millionaires that are fucking killing themselves, throwing themselves off bridges. I mean, in 1929, after the stock market crash, there's a bunch of rich people who fucking just whack themselves off. And then you got people, dude, that are living in the streets are as happy as a pig in shit. I remember when I played in San Francisco back in 2016 at this place called the Biscuits and Blues. There was this dude living in the fucking gated alley behind the club. He was, I think he was a veteran. He was hunchback. His name was JJ. And he lived behind a dumpster there. I had him a bed meal. Dude, he was the fucking most humble, cool motherfucker you ever meet. And it's just so bizarre, man, that someone like that could be in that situation and they're just as humble and happy as they could be. I give the dude 20 or 30 bucks to watch over the van while we were playing. And dude, he was just cool as shit, man. And then you go on the opposite side of the coin, you go down the street, there's some motherfucker that's living in a goddamn $1 million home that can't hack it no more. They just blow their fucking head off. So you never know what people, point is, you never know what people are at, what they're going through, man. It's just people with a smile on your face, happy go lucky. Next thing you know, you're hearing about the motherfucker done off themselves, so you never know what people go through, man. The old saying, you never know until you walk in someone else's shoes. But a lot of people are quick to latch on to, you're this, you got it made, it must be nice,
In my instance, there's probably a lot of people who think the general perception of me was a fairly squeaky, cleanish, like as far as especially in the drug world and the musician world, as like a all around nice guy and good guy and kind of a not necessarily goody goody because I did a lot of drugs, but like there wasn't a lot of dirt on me. And so as soon as there was anything at all, like people latched onto it and like that got broadcast. And it's like nobody wants to talk about the fact that, I've been on the dean's list for like 4 straight semesters, or that I'm an honor student, or that I completed my internship and I have a paid teacher's assistant gig next semester when I graduate my undergrad at the top 15% of my class. And the state of Missouri's paying for me to go to grad school. And like nobody wants to talk about that. They're like, did you hear what she said about him? This one person,
yeah.
Like
so the gossip mill. That's why,
Well, she posted it on Facebook, so it must be true.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
and to kind of go full circle, like to allude what we were talking about earlier, have you ever seen a documentary? I want to say it's either on like Netflix or Prime or something. It's called The Social Dilemma.
Yeah, I've seen it. I can't for the life of me fucking remember it. I've seen so many shit, but
it's about like
social media and the
algorithms and how it broadcasts the worst things. And like if you like girlfriend, boyfriend, and you broke up, and Facebook knows you guys used to hang out together, so it'll put all her shit in your feed or some shit like that. And it's like, and it's designed to kind of trigger people's emotions and play on their shit and fuck with people.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times like certain people just end up in my feed on Facebook, and I don't want to defriend anybody because I'm a musician and I want everybody to be on there.
Truly be all inclusive, no matter what your views are, no matter what your color is, no matter what your religion is. I want you to come and have fun and shake your ass and listen to live music and be spiritual.
And it's just like no matter how many times I just try to get them on my feed, they're always the first to pop up after you snooze them for 30 days. There they are again, bam. Then you start seeing all their shit. So it's just like it's taking the things that you don't want and feeding them right back to you. It's fucking funny though.
Dude, fuck Facebook.
I mean, all it's just a great tool, but the idea that it's not being used to fucking fuck with your mind is like, I'm not so sure about that.
I think the more you're aware of what it does and like why that shit's there, for me, like I control my emotions, and how I feel about things. If I don't like the way I feel about something, I find a different way to feel. Like the way I go about it. It's not to not be in touch with your feelings because it's 2023 and we're men and we don't have to be like adherent to toxic masculinity and all that bullshit. We can be in touch with how we feel. But if there's something like that I find that's unpleasant, I kind of try and look and find the good in things. Like all the shit that I've been through, I've got a better sense of self and a better sense of awareness, and there's a lot of good. So
I'm not so much into the word toxic masculinity, because I don't think masculinity in itself is toxic. But you can just be a fucking dick. There are people who are just fucking dicks,
See,
and just let it go at that.
a lot of people don't understand what the term is, and like people are saying like, oh, masculinity makes you toxic. No, that's not it.
No.
Like the toxic masculinity that I have, that I was kind of indoctrinated with, came from my mom and the women in my life. Okay, mostly.
Yeah.
For real. And it had to do with what they presented to me as what women were, and kind of how I idealized their roles in my life, and had like a more kind of like a sanctified view of things, and compartmentalized, and just and all that kind of shit, and how it affected me, and it kind of kept me toxic. Without getting into all of it, like it came from indirectly from the women in my life, and from my mom accusing my dad of being like, oh yeah, you're toxic because of your dad, and it's your dad's side from your dad, blah blah blah, when a lot of that came from them, so that's a whole different episode of
we touched on a lot of stuff here. Yeah, I enjoyed the conversation, man. This is good.
For sure. No,
good.
and
It's funny.
do me a favor, shoot me over a couple MP3s of songs you want to play. I also want Through the Trees and Here Tonight to play on there, and I'm gonna throw some tunes on at the end, and let everybody know like your website and where people can go to
everything's www.darylhance.com. Everything's pretty much hubbed off there.
Do you have a link to your archive.org page on there then?
I'm not sure if it's on the new stuff, the site, but what new is 8 years old, but it's on there somewhere.
Heck yeah. Nice.
I had it tied in at one point, but that whole damn online shit, there's so much to it between the streaming. It's like a big brain fuck to try to keep up with that shit. It's a full-time job just to post to social media, much less get in there and figure out all the metadata and all that other crap. But it is a great tool, man, to have.
Oh yeah, great way to reach a lot of people, man. Well, I appreciate your time so much, man. We had a great conversation.
But I like to talk about just shit like that, just bouncing shit off there, it's all that shit is just free conversations about fucking ideas and stuff, and just exchanging information, talking about shit. Who gives a fuck? It's interesting because you learn shit from people through communicating with them and talking to them and not yelling at somebody. I mean, that's one thing I think about the lost art of conversation. Everybody's trying to be right as opposed to just sitting back. I never thought of something like that. There's that. And another thing too is like the simple phrase, also true. Two things can be true at the same time. It doesn't necessarily have to be this or that. It can be that. It can be many things, a whole medley of things, or a whole orchestra of things, just because, you believe this one thing doesn't mean that this isn't true as well, or this isn't as relevant, or whatever. It's listen to the whole fucking story.
Yeah, things can be mutually inclusive, and that's what's cool about the exchange of ideas and the conversation. And for me, like, I don't ever want to be locked into one way of thinking and think I know the way things are, think I have my mind made up. Like, I'm always looking for an expansion and to learn more and to maybe change the way of thinking and evolve and grow. And people, that's what being humble is to remain teachable and to not think that you have everything figured out.
That's a big deal with humans, man. Especially modern humans, is thinking that we've got everything figured out. There's a piece I wrote the other day. I want to post it soon. It's just about that whole thing about modern society thinking that they're so smart, and that in other words, we're the smartest motherfuckers that have ever existed on the face of the earth. Never mind the people who used to navigate the oceans of the world at night with the fucking stars. Right. Now, they thought the world was flat. I was like, you're telling me they fucking navigated the oceans at night using the stars, and they thought the world was flat? I don't think so. And also, it's like most of these motherfuckers talk about that, and then they can't even read a fucking road map with the goddamn street names on it, or they can half-ass follow a GPS, It's just this whole idea that we're the most intelligent. species that, or humans that have ever existed is dumb. If anything, we're the dumbest. We might have some cool shit, cool gadgets, but this whole idea that we got everything figured out is dumb.
I seen a meme the other day, and it was like, people in the 1950s, we're gonna have flying cars in fucking 50 years, and then it's like people in 2023, it shows a car battery. Do not drink contents.
Yeah.
Fucking. But it's
Yeah.
like, have you ever seen the movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio and Joe Seneca? And
Oh
Steve
yeah.
Vai? Oh yeah.
I haven't in years, but I've seen it.
Dude, it's one of the best movies ever. So many quotable lines, but one of the best lines is when Willie Brown's talking to Lightning Boy. He says, "How you ever gonna learn that number 29 song? How you gonna learn anything if you think you got it all figured out?
Yeah.
How you gonna learn anything new if you think you got it all already?"
That's that old ego creeping in there, man. Like thinking we got it all. You got it all figured out. We got it all figured out. I know everything.
A lot of good lines in that movie. One of the best is whenever they're at the crossroads and he's trying to renegotiate the deal with the devil, and Willie Brown says, I didn't get what you promised. He's like, I lost all my money. Nobody cares about me. I'm in the old folks' home. It was worthless. I got nothing. And the devil says, you got exactly what you wanted, blues man. Ain't nothing ever as good as we want it to be. I don't know. With that, we'll end with that, right? Oh man, like I said, I appreciate the shit out of you, Daryl. Man, it's good catching up, brother.
Yeah, man. This went in some places I didn't. I like to talk about all kind of shit, man.
For sure, brother. Be safe. Let us know when the new album drops, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll be throwing it out there, man. Hitting people up. So
the Southern Gothic Noir.
Southern Gothic what?
Noir.
Well, what does that mean?
Noir. So like film noir is like a dark film. It's shot dark and like from specific angles to like
right.
Like kind of a disconcerting feel, an uncomfortable type of thing. So
yeah.
So the way you describe the new album is kind of like a Southern Gothic noir type of thing.
Yeah. That's the best I could come up with.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
See, I can't wait for people to hear it. Fuck, I'm so fucking sick of hearing it. I could puke blood, but we'll get it done here shortly and get it out there so I can start on the next 3 or 4 albums.
Fucking A right. I love it, well, brother. Be safe. Let me know too. We'll play some shows together or something.
Yeah, you too, man. Be good, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Next time I'll be on yours.
Yep. Later, man.
All right, everybody. It was a heck of a conversation. He was a heck of a guy. I want to thank Daryl for his time. We'll definitely have him back on closer to when his album comes out or after, so we can get some more information on that.
She you do is frown. The way you look, feeling like a clown. With your head stuck there in the clouds. Learn to climb high from the ground. Listen to my mind, I knew it all the time. Never wasted mine, yeah, I'm alive. Found without your own, you're going down. 'Cause living down doesn't make a sound. Holding on till everything abound. Maybe stuck, but never losing ground. Without your own, you're gonna drown. Listen to my mind, I knew it all the time. Never wasting mine, yeah, I'm alive. Think of me, sweet darling, and everything's going bad. Think of me, sweet darling, every time you're feeling sad. Think of me, sweet darling, every time you don't come. Can you feel the fever? Think of me, sweet darling, when everything's going wrong. Think of me, sweet darling, when the best just isn't enough. Think of me, sweet darling, every time you don't come. Can you feel the fever? But nobody else is doing it. Ooh. Nobody else is doing it. No, no. Thought that our harmony was a new harmony. No, it was a little too straight. The band played on. Said I was going away, but she's been here a while, living in the guest room. I guess she goes in style. I said I wasn't gonna put God away, but I just can't let her go. Can you feel the fever? Now I lay me down to sleep in this enemy bed. Tomorrow morning I will wake up, hurt from the things we've said. One thing leads to another, but I guess you know about that. Can you feel the fever? Play
security guard already sees him coming in the door. He goes straight to the cash register, lady, pulls out the guns. She starts filling a bag up. The security guard just walks up behind him, takes his pistol butt and kabongs him in the head. Wham! And knocks the bag off his head. Dude drops the pistol, grabs the money, turns around. As soon as he turns around, dude, it's like this camera, click, takes his picture, runs out the door. Now his buddies, his two getaway buddies, are across the street, smoking crack at Don's Pond in the parking lot of Don's Pond Guitar Shop. They see him come running out of the bank. I swear to God, it's no lies, no exaggeration. Slams on the gas, flies out across Blandon Boulevard like a 4-6 lane road. It's a huge road, and crashes into a marked police car, a regular police car. It was in the newspaper. My buddy's his brother. He was in the newspaper. The judge called him the Three Stooges. The jury had to be told to quit laughing the whole time, and the trial was going on, laughing at the mothers.
Inside. It's in the back. The front. No, it's in the back. No, it's in the front. No, it's in the back. They shoved it in the back. They put it in the back. All the love in the back. Get in the back. All the love, get in the back, boy. And they call it your subconscious. Remember Freud? And the front is your computer. And I call him old ego is a too much thing. Old ego is a too much thing. He'll make you fool yourself. You'll think you're somebody else. Look out now. Oh, the trouble you bring. Makes you want to jump on a band fight, and you can't stand not to be right. It'll make you lie, make you cheat, just so you won't be beat. It'll make you get on outside. You get afraid, you're gonna act like a clown. And do you get mad when somebody puts you down? Your heart's a pumping and your paranoid's a jumping. Look out, ego is a too much thing. When everything seems going so fine, old ego puts itself on in a bind. Your certainty turns to doubt, and then you start flipping out. Then you ease on out of your mind.
All the tapers, get ready because you'll call this one Bob Plays Real Loud. Going to a party at the county jail. Prison band and they began to wail. They began to dance, the joint began to swing. Sure they had a knocked out jailboard song. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the wholesale bar was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Old brother played the tenor saxophone. Little brother playing on the slide trombone. My brother dancing on the crashbone bed. Whole rhythm section was a purple king. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the wholesale bar was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Number 47 said to number 3. Don't do the jail, but I ever did see. Showing like a time to spend some company. Come on, do the jailhouse rock with me. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Money in the wholesale bar. Dancing to the jailhouse rock. Thank you.
let your memory drift into nothing at all. All the love that you missed, all the people that you can't recall, do they really exist at all? The whole world seems so cold today. All the magic's gone away, and our time together melts away like a sad melody I play. It's so easy to slip, so easy to fall, and let your memory drift and do nothing at all. All the love that you missed, all the people that you can't recall, do they really exist at all? Well, I don't want to live forever in the shadow of you leaving me. So I like another cigarette. Try to remember to forget. So easy to slip. Oh, it's so easy to fall. It's so easy to slip. And it's easy to fall. Ooh, so easy. You're so easy. You're so easy. Easy to slip now. Oh, you're so easy. Easy to slip now. Yes, it's easy. Yes, it's easy to. Easy to slip now, easy to fall. Easy to slip now, Lord, so easy to fall. One little slip now, don't take nothing at all. Hear me telling y'all. Hear me telling y'all, Lord, so easy, Lord, so easy, Lord, so easy, Lord, so easy. Sky waiting for me when I die. Between the day born and when you die, Lord, they never even seem to hear your cry. As sure as the sun will shine, I'm gonna get my share of what's mine. And then the harder they come, the harder they'll fall, one and all. The harder they come, the harder they fall, one and all. Well, the oppressors trying to keep me down, trying to drag my body underground. And though they think they've got the battle won, I say forgive them, Lord, they know not what they've done. As sure as the sun will shine, I'm gonna get my share of what's mine. And then the harder they come, the harder they'll fall, one and all. The harder they come,
'Cause I'd rather be a free man in my grave, living as a puppet or a slave. Pretty sure the sun will shine. Gonna get my share. What's mine? Harder they come, harder they fall. One and all. The harder they come, the harder they fall. One and all. The harder they come, the harder they fall. One and all. And the harder they come, the harder they fall. One and all.
Hope we're here tomorrow, just like we are today. Hope we're here tomorrow, just like we are today. Don't ever wanna leave here. Hope we'll always be around. Don't ever wanna leave here. Hope we'll always be around. We are here together until our living ends. Yeah. We are here together until our living ends. Don't ever wanna leave here. Hope we'll always be around. Don't ever wanna leave here. Hope we'll always be around.
Good morning.
Now back to the G.